Hey, what up everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you with the Night of Champions 2015 review results, whatever you want to call it, show. To finish out the show, I had a fun time watching the Night of Champions 2015. I honestly tell you that it was a little bit more of a fun time than I thought it was going to be, coming home and watching 3 hours of wrestling after a long shift, and it's 1:16 in the morning here. It is a little late. I yawned a few times near the end of the show, but I think at the end, even though, when you think about, what just happened and how it's going to fix the foreseeable future of the WWE, with Kane returning, it makes you want to yawn a little bit more. Honestly, the Seth Rollins versus Sting match was pretty bad. Sting got injured. You gotta give him, credit for that, and at least he was able to finish the match. He could have thrown the towel in and just said that he was unfit to continue with the match after his injury. He took one hell of a bump going through the announce table. You gotta give him that, and it's more from Sting than I thought we were going to see. In the pre-show match, the Cosmic Wasteland, Stardust, and the Ascension pulled out the win over Neville and the Lucha Dragons. I saw the little highlight of the match where they just basically showed the finish. I didn't see anything else because I wasn't going to watch the hour-long pre-show just to see this one 10-minute match. But the show kicked off with Kevin Owens beating Ryback for the Intercontinental Championship. I think that this is definitely going to go into a feud of Kevin Owens versus Ryback, having a rematch next month at Hell in the Cell. Kevin Owens winning the Intercontinental Championship, I hope, is a big monumental achievement for his career. I'm hoping that they won't treat him like they treat every single other Intercontinental Champion that they've ever had in the company, basically coming out and losing his first match and, keeping the championship through to count-out disqualification, something that does fit his character, but I want to see Kevin Owens be a legitimate badass. I honestly do believe that this guy could be a main event deal in WWE if they treat this guy like he is something special. Having him beat John Cena was big. Having him lose to John Cena 3 times in a row was borderline stupid. Him winning the Intercontinental Championship puts a smile on my face in hopes that they have some plans for him in the foreseeable future. Dolph Ziggler beat Rusev in the Young and the Restless match of the night. They said that it was supposed to be highlighting TMZ. Ziggler got the win after Summer Rae threw her shoe into the ring, which dazed Rusev, and Ziggler was able to hit the zigzag. Before this match, we had a promo highlighting the October month on the WWE Network, which is going to be the Brock Lesnar Go to Hell tour. And basically on the Go to Hell tour, they were going to be having Big Show go one-on-one against Brock Lesnar at Madison Square Garden. We're going to have the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast with Brock Lesnar. And then also at Hell in the Cell, we're going to get our first... no, I guess not first. This is like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth match from these guys, I believe. Might be the 6th. Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, Hell in the Cell. They're not waiting till WrestleMania. They're going to get it on at Hell in the Cell, in the Hell in the Cell, in Los Angeles. Going to be one hell of a deal. I know a lot of people going to that show, and they're going to be pumped. They got a good one there coming their way. Dudley Boys defeated the New Day by disqualification when they hit the 3D on, I believe, Kofi Kingston, and then Xavier Woods came running in from the outside, put the stomp on them. From there, the New Day would bring tables into the ring, thinking that they were going to put the Dudley Boys through them, but the Dudley Boys awoke, fought off the New Day, and hit the 3D on Xavier Woods, putting him through the table. Charlotte beat Nikki Bella, ending her run as the longest-running Divas champion of all time, I believe at 301 days. Charlotte was there with Paige and Becky Lynch, as well as Ric Flair. They got the win. So match. It is what it was. They beat down Charlotte. They said that her leg was injured, but she was still able to hit the figure 8 and get the win there for you. Chris Jericho made his return to on-screen. They lost the match to the Wyatts. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Chris Jericho were in the ring once it was all done. They looked like they were all going to be like, oh, we'll get them next time. But Chris Jericho wouldn't shake hands with Dean Ambrose, put his shoulder and walked right through Ambrose and Reigns, leaving him right there in the middle of the ring. And then from there, we go on to the main event. John Cena beating Seth Rollins for the United States Championship match. Match went 16 minutes, but the match was so good. It was one of those matches that only felt like it was 5. Rollins would then go on and immediately face Sting in the main event. Sting very badly injured and banged up. Rollins was able to roll him up after a Scorpion Deathlock. 1, 2, 3. Rollins gets the belt. Keeps the belt. Then from there, Sheamus came running down to make Seth Rollins' night a little bit longer, making it go 3 matches instead of only 2. Once Sheamus hit the ring, Kane's music came off. Kane wanted to join the party. Kane didn't really run off Sheamus, but Sheamus just looked at it as, fuck this, I'll live to fight another day. I only have one contract. I'm not going to fight this guy in order to fight this guy to become champion. There's going to be another opportunity down the road. But Kane, double tombstone Seth Rollins, leaving him laying as the pay-per-view goes off. So the big deal for Hell in a Cell is going to be Seth Rollins versus Kane, it looks like, as well as Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. I'm guessing you're going to get rematches in the Dudley Boys versus the New Day, Kevin Owens versus Ryback, Ziggler versus Rusev looks like it's nowhere near finished. Would be surprised if they do Charlotte versus Nikki. I'm thinking that you're going to have a few girls in a match at Hell in a Cell. I don't think you're going to go one-on-one. And I'm not quite sure if we're going to get like Jericho versus Ambrose or what we're going to get out of that deal. Maybe we're never going to see Chris Jericho ever again. So that was Night of Champions. I'll see you guys down the road. Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. I'm sitting down here to watch Night of Champions an hour and 45 minutes after the show has already ended. I'm sure by now everyone is already up in arms about everything that's happened during the show. Secret is that only one of the match was spoiled for me, so I'm sitting down to have a good night. Honestly, when it comes down to it, there was only one real match I'm really fired up for, which ended up being the opener, which was Ryback against Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental Championship. I really want to see Kevin Owens win this match, and I'm really looking forward to what is going down. I just didn't know that it was going to be the opener, because I know that I have feelings about what's going to happen with Sting and Seth Rollins, John Cena versus Seth Rollins, but I don't really emotionally invested in those matches. So when I sat down to watch the show and Kevin Owens and Ryback came out first, I was sort of sitting here thinking like, it's going to be a long night. But this was a very good match. I'm glad that I looked forward to this one. It was a brawling match from the beginning with Owens and Ryback heading to the outside. And basically, you know, Owens attacking the shoulder and the elbow of Ryback, you know, banging into the ring post on the outside. And it was sort of like, you know, what was the match was built around was how was Ryback going to be able to pull through the pain. Ryback was selling it well, even complaining to the referee about his elbow and his shoulder. I don't think he wanted the match to stop. I don't know why he was whining to the referee about the pain in his elbow and his shoulder, but you could tell that he was just trying to get it over because they were really, you know, getting that camera in there close to get the voices heard and what was going down. But Ryback, being as strong as this guy was, we saw him basically picking this guy up. And I don't like what they're doing with Owens about, you know, just really getting over you wouldn't really know how much of an athlete this guy is by looking at him, just basically trying to get over on his girth and his size. The guy's a good freaking wrestler. I think he's the guy that basically you can build the company around. You can tell that there's a lot of people invested in him. You know that this guy is selling lots of shirts and lots of merch. I think that honestly, you light a fire under this guy. I think that he's going to be a big thing in WWE. But Ryback ends up getting the advantage of this match. He goes to pick up Kevin Owens in order to hit the shell shock, and the referee is out of position, and Kevin Owens reaches around with his bare claw hands, sticks him into Ryback's eyes, rapes the eyes, and then basically once Ryback drops Kevin Owens, Owens rolls Ryback up for the 1, 2, 3. You know, Kevin Owens, who besides for a Raw or a SmackDown, maybe even a house show match along the way, has not won a match in WWE of a big-time caliber since his debut, beating John Cena at Elimination Chamber, is now the Intercontinental Champion. I think this is going to be the start of something really good. Hopefully, WWE doesn't fall into the I guess you can say the normal tracks that they fall into, where they just basically we'll put the championship on this guy, and then we'll job the hell out of him for the next 2 months until he loses the championship, and then wonder why the guy's not as hot as he once was. But Kevin Owens, new IC champ. Ryback, he had a good run. They really wanted to stick with Ryback, you can tell, because when he went down with his injury, they didn't strip him of the title. I don't know if that's because of the bad luck that they've had with the IC title as of late. Hopefully it doesn't hit Kevin Owens. But with, earlier this year, Daniel Bryan as well as Wade Barrett late last year going down with an injury because of the championship. We'll see what's going down. Hopefully we see Ryback versus Kevin Owens at the next pay-per-view, Hell in the Cell, in October. All right. Honestly, after the Intercontinental Championship being won by Kevin Owens, and then finally the Go to Hell tour featuring Brock Lesnar on the WWE Network announcement, I feel like there's only one way that the show can go, and that's basically it can go down from here. They bring out Rusev versus Dolph. This is they refer to it as like a soap opera / TMZ angle with basically all the things going on behind the scenes. They try and play out everything that has happened in the angle, but basically you can tell that a lot of the fresh stuff that they were building up to this match was sucked out of the room with Lana's wrist injury. It seems that now with only one girl, Summer Rae, at ringside, this match doesn't have the same feel that it once did. But they're trying their best. On Monday Night Raw, the same Monday where we found out that Lana wasn't going to be a part of Night of Champions, it wasn't going to be probably a part of this storyline for the foreseeable ending of this. We have Dolph Ziggler giving the earrings to Summer Rae, and this basically paying off. With now, they're trying to figure out what side is Summer Rae on. Before they're making their way down to the ring, Rusev is trying to blow off the interview. He doesn't want any part of this. But as Summer walks by, the guy says, "Hey, are those the earrings that Dolph gave you?" And she immediately gives him the "fuck you" face, which turns into basically a look of, you can tell that she wanted to say yes, whatever, but, it was what it was. They get down to the ring. Dolph has gone full Rick Rude, basically getting, Lana's face, spray painted or airbrushed, whatever you want to say, right onto his crotch area. You could tell that Rusev was going to be kicking Dolph in the nuts tonight, basically just trying to get that one shot in on Lana, the girl that he loves so much, which is basically the angle that this is all built around. But they get into the match. Rusev, is bringing the match to Dolph. He's really wearing him down. He's putting the beating on him. They're going back and forth a little bit, but at one point, Summer Rae gets into the ring to try and get a part of the action. It's hard to say if she's trying to help Rusev, if she's trying to help Dolph, but she falls into the ring. The referee gets up and notices that Summer's lying in the ring and throws her out immediately, basically saying, "You're out of here, buddy, to the back. You can't be at ringside anymore. You're now more than just a disqualification." But she sends, Summer to the back, and as Summer's getting out of the ring, she's so, just pissed that she's being kicked out of ringside that she throws her shoe. I'm not sure if she was throwing it at Dolph, if she was throwing it at the referee, if she was just throwing a tantrum. Basically, the shoe hits Rusev right in the head, which makes him dazed. Dolph capitalizes on this, picks up, Rusev hits him with the zigzag, and it's a 1-2-3, and Dolph Ziggler wins the match due to Summer Rae's interference, which this is what led to Lana being dumped by Rusev. Will Rusev make the same mistake yet once again, dumping Summer Rae, and now making this storyline built around her? All right, Tag Team Championship comes up next. You got the New Day making their way down to the ring where they have a big in-ring promo basically saying they have their online petition, basically trying to get people to sign, save the tables, get rid of the Dudleys. Dudleys can't be going around breaking tables. They say that they've got Jake from State Farm, Barack Obama, they've got the Authority. All these people have signed this petition, and it comes down to them finally getting the Dudleys getting into the ring and having this match. An awesome stare down between Bubba Ray Dudley and Biggie Langston, where Biggie Langston's telling the old man to get out of the ring, basically firing up Bubba Ray to the point where he smacks Biggie Langston and sends him down to it. But from that point, it was basically the New Day cutting off the ring and beating down on Bubba, making Devon, the man on the outside, dying to get the hot tag. There's one spot where Biggie Langston lays out Bully Ray. Is it Bully Ray or is it Bubba Ray? I'm never gonna get this right. After so long, I remember laughing at Bubba Ray when he changed his name to Bully Ray in TNA. Trying to get over as a singles guy. Just thinking how stupid it was, and I guess it really stuck, and it really worked. I think I'm always gonna call him Bully for the longest time here. But they cut the ring off. Biggie Langston does a huge splash on the outside, curtain of the ring, onto Bubba. It was a big spot, and it was really cool. You could tell that it really hurt Bully. For a guy like him to even show pain inside of the ring, that shit really did ring him up, and you can tell that it really did hurt. Fun stuff comes from this one. The Dudleys fight all the way back to the point where they're putting over the fact that since they've made their way back to the WWE, I know that they've only been there for, let's say, give or take a little bit of a month, since the night after SummerSlam. We see, the 3D, King's putting it over. No one's ever kicked out of the 3D. We have the 1, we have the 2, and then Xavier Woods just calmly, comes in from the outside, breaks up the count. We're at 2, making it where it's the disqualification. The New Day keeps the championships. They beat down the Dudleys. And then during their celebration with the trombone and everything inside of the ring, they yell, "Get the tables!" And they go to the outside. They pull the table back into the ring. And at this point, the Dudleys come back alive. Running off the New Day, but hitting Xavier Woods with their own 3D through the tables, laying him out, making the Dudleys look strong. I didn't think that they were going to put the titles on the Dudleys extremely fast. The Dudleys do get the win, but it is via disqualification, so the titles do not change hands. The Dudley Boys keep the titles, but you got to be guessing. Hell in the Cell has to be based around the table. Has to be some sort of a tables match. Maybe they even go from a tables match where they lose this one, that they just go, forget it, we'll just go 3-on-2. Or if they can find the guy and if they can make him look as much as they can like he used to back in the day, just bring back little Spike Dudley and see if you can go 3 versus 3. Lots of 3-man groups sprouting up in WWE. Maybe they can start some sort of a 6-man division. And we'll see where we go from there. Word was they were even going to bring Carlito back. I don't know if that's why they're breaking up the Epico Primo El Matador team, with the Matadors breaking up with the Bull, beating him down against the Dudleys a few weeks ago on Monday Night Raw. After 301 days, Nikki Bella's reign over the Divas Championship in the Divas division has finally fallen. Charlotte has beaten Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship. Team PCB, they set out on this goal page basically for months. Basically looked at it as someone needed to step up and help her fight the Bella. She wasn't going to be able to win this war 3-on-1. Every time she was in a match, she had Nikki on the ropes. It was Alicia, or if it was Brie, somebody was coming in there, and somebody was always, just getting the advantage to Nikki in this. This is how this whole thing got started with the Divas Revolution and everybody coming in to the Divas division with Becky Lynch, with Charlotte, with Sasha Banks, Team Bad, Team Bella, Team PCB. And this was one hell of a match. This was one hell of a way to actually get this done. We all thought that Charlotte was going to win the Divas Championship on Monday Night Raw, ending Nikki's quest to break AJ Lee's record of consecutive days with the championship. Now I guess you can head on over to WWE Shop and buy your Nikki Bella plaque. Numbered to our, 301 days. She didn't get to make it all the way to the year. Honestly, in my mind, I would have made people wait just a little bit longer, add a few more days to that reign, get a little bit of the dissension in Team PCB, but I guess now, now you're going to have Paige, wondering when she's going to get a championship shot. She's happy, that her buddy Charlotte got to win the championship and she was there and she got to be a part of it, but now the true competitive nature that's inside of her is going to want to come out, and she's going to want to get a piece of that championship as well. But we got, a great match. Charlotte comes into this match. Nikki takes out her knee and attacks her leg throughout the whole match. She wraps her leg around the outside, ring post. Nikki, wraps up and puts her in the figure 4 around it. Charlotte is wailing in pain about the pain in her knee and her leg, and we're all wondering if the referee is going to stop the match and basically give a saving grace to Charlotte, because the fight was really coming to her. She was finding ways to get some offense in there, but for the most part it was the Bellas knocking them out. And even at one point the Bellas came close to getting disqualified with Nikki Bella putting the figure 4 on Charlotte inside of the ring. She reached back and she grabbed the ropes, and you had Team Bella on the outside. At that point, Team PCB came running around to break this up. If they only would have just waited and let the referee notice this, Nikki would have been disqualified and the championship would have been handed out, but I guess Charlotte didn't want to win the belt that way. Team PCB didn't want to win the belt that way. So Nikki Bella climbs to the top to deliver some sort of a double arm axe handle, I guess you can say, is what she was going for, and Charlotte delivers one of the weakest spears of all time. It was almost like she didn't even do a spear. She just moved and put her shoulder into Nikki, and that was enough for her to wrap her up and put the figure 8 on her, and Nikki Bella was able to tap, and now Charlotte actually wins the championship, and Ric Flair can now say that his championship reign and his family has 17 world championships in it. Way to go, Team Flair. For weeks, we've been sitting here wondering who is going to be the surprise mystery partner of the Shield. Who is going to team up with Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt? I will say that honestly, when I screwed that up. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. Basically, I thought it played into it perfectly. First, Dean Ambrose came out, then followed by Roman Reigns. They made their way all the way down into the ring, and then they did this sort of a face-off from corner to corner with the Wyatts, 2-on-3, and out of the middle of nowhere, someone in sort of a SWAT team jacket, bald head. If you had to match it up to any wrestler, it was like if Christopher Daniels showed up wearing a Shield outfit, stood behind Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, quickly tackled by, I believe, 3 security guards. And then to make this better, because they had to buy time a little bit, Bray Wyatt stands up on the second rope, points over at Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, and just points and laughs at him. Is that your guy? Is that your guy? Is that all you have? And basically, they play it up like Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns are going to go at it 2-on-3, like this is the Outsiders going up against Luger, Savage, and and Sting. That's it. I was trying to put Flair in that match for some reason. But one way or another, they don't even do the countdown. Well, they did the countdown, but they didn't even do the who is it going to be? Who could it be? Out of the middle of this conversation, the Chris Jericho, Titantron just starts to flash up on the screen with the countdown from 10 all the way to 1. Jericho comes out on the stage with the flashing lights jacket, as always, spins around, looks towards the ring and starts to make his way down, and they immediately flash Bray Wyatt's face up on the screen. And he doesn't even look scared. He just shakes his head at him like, yeah, I've kicked this guy's ass before, no big deal. I had to look it up. The last time we saw Chris Jericho in WWE was a year ago. We've seen him on the network do the Jericho podcast. We've seen him fight Neville at the last Tokyo show, the Beast in the East, that's what it was called. We've seen him do those matches, and maybe you've been lucky enough to see the Chris Jericho house show tour that he's been on, but he hasn't been on television. But honestly, we went through a whole list of guys, whether it was Randy Orton, whether it was Baron Corbin, whether it was The Rock, Daniel Bryan, this, that, or the other. Chris Jericho is a guy that has beef with the Wyatts, dating back to their feud last year at SummerSlam, in a match that my friend Freaking Yeah 88 sat there, put his head on a little thing in front of him, and took a nap during. And I know that he did the match on Raw, which was the blow-off, the steel cage match. Everybody went crazy. I think he even won a Slammy for jumping off the top of the cage. From there, somehow he ended up fighting Randy Orton at Night of Champions last year. But Chris Jericho, we all can hope and dream that this isn't just a one-time thing. I think only time will tell. Maybe we'll see him on Raw, or maybe we have to see how this match turns out, honestly. But Jericho returns as the mystery partner. We never, I didn't hear anybody call this. So it is a big surprise, and a clap to WWE for getting it done. Coming up on the end of the second hour, going into the third of the, I almost called it the Hell in the Cell, because this commercial is about to start playing on the Go to Hell tour for Brock Lesnar here for the second time tonight on Night of Champions. But we just got done with the Shield match, where basically the Shield revealed that Chris Jericho was the returning, I guess you can say mystery partner going up against the Wyatts. But they ran into the brute force of Braun Strowman. This match was built all around Braun Strowman, showing off how big and how powerful this guy is. Basically, with all the flashy moves of Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Chris Jericho, they weren't enough to take down the Wyatts. Braun was just too big. Braun was just too bad. There was a point in this match that played into where the finish is and where this storyline, I guess you can say, is going. Everyone's always going to wonder, if Chris Jericho's return is a one-time thing. I think that with the finish of the match and the way that the aftermatch happened, I'm going to guess that Chris Jericho is going to be a part of the foreseeable future of WWE on television right now. Whether if he's on Monday Night Raw or not, we'll have to see. But Jericho makes his return. At one point, Roman Reigns looked like he had this match in hand. He hit his spear, which would normally set up his big Superman punch in order to set up them getting the big victory. From there, Chris Jericho reached in on the corner, got the blind tag on Roman Reigns, came running in, hit his big lion tamer, and tried to go for the 1-2, but Strowman kicked out, and from that point, Strowman picked up Chris Jericho. The Wyatts attacked from both sides, surprisingly, on Luke Harper and Dean Ambrose. Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt attacked Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns on the outside, leaving just Braun and Chris Jericho on the inside. And I'm not quite sure what the big name is for Braun Strowman's move, but Strowman just choked the life out of Chris Jericho. Finally, the feet went limp. The referee called for the bell, basically saying the match was over and done with. There was nothing more that there was for this fight. Jericho was done. Once Jericho was able to be woken up right there in the middle of the ring, and he got up, Ambrose and Reigns sort of looked at each other, and they looked at Jericho, and there was this little bit of a question of, whether if, they were going to attack Jericho, whether if they were going to turn on him, and then finally they get this look on their face, like, it's not the end of the war. We'll fight the Wyatts again another day. It's only one day, and it is what it is. We'll just have to move on from there. And at that point, they reach out their hand for Chris Jericho to get that sort of like, we get the handshake and we're good to go. We'll fight another day. Instead, Jericho just plows right through Ambrose with a cold shoulder and walks out on Roman Reigns and leaves him. Surprised. Very surprised to see something like that, but I don't know. I will honestly say that I wasn't that into Jericho in this match, but I think it was just because the Wyatts were in there. But if we get some sort of a Jericho versus Dean Ambrose feud, I think that would really help elevate Dean Ambrose to where he was late last year, when he was going through his matches with Seth Rollins before Bray Wyatt ran into him. And anything that's going to elevate Dean Ambrose and make him valuable to WWE again, I'll give my thumbs up approval to. Hey, what up, everybody? Steve Breach coming to you here with the first of two main events of Night of Champions 2015 pay-per-view. Seth Rollins defending his United States as well as his WWE Championship in two separate matches. He's going to be defending, of course, in the first match against John Cena for the United States Championship. WWE in the pre-show decided to stack the deck against Seth Rollins, making it where both championships would be defended back-to-back. Before the match, Stephanie McMahon and Triple H walked up up to him and told him that he was the man. If anybody could do it, it was him. And he needed to go out there and he needed to prove that he was going to be able to do it. And in the first of 2 matches, Seth Rollins went out against John Cena and was not able to get it done. I'm very surprised. It makes me want to almost change my prediction for the Seth Rollins versus Sting match. It would not make a lot of sense in my book for Seth Rollins to walk out and lose the first match, only to turn around and win the second one. Cena got the win. He pinned Seth Rollins right there in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. I was very surprised. He got the win after an attitude adjustment, after a reverse power slam, and then also a leg slice off of the top rope with him jumping off and doing that big, whoa, boom, big leg thing. A really, really good match. It was excellent, very, very back and forth kind of things. I think that honestly this plays into the deck of Seth Rollins, basically, with the match not going all that long. It doesn't seem like the match was longer than 10 minutes. It honestly could have been that I was so into the match I don't really realize how much time passed. But I'm not sure how long Sting and Seth Rollins is going to go. I would think that they would try and make that match as short as possible, seeing how I think they have faith in Sting, but I think they have enough faith in Sting in a match that has a lot of, smoke and mirrors and sort of things like that, like sort of like the WrestleMania match. After the match was done, Rollins said that he was hurt, and he grabbed his WWE Championship from the timekeeper's desk, and he tried to make his way to the back. At this point, John Cena cut him off, basically told him he had another match against Sting, and he wasn't going anywhere. At this point, Rollins tried to attack Cena, only for Cena to strike Rollins, pick him up for the attitude adjustment. The only thing I first thought of is that basically, even though the bell hasn't rung, how is the Authority going to use this to sneak Seth Rollins out of the match against Sting, maybe saying that it was outside interference, disqualification? At this point, Cena picked up Rollins and threw him right back in the middle of the ring, where Rollins went to the middle of the ring and laid down, acted like he was passed out. Time seemed like it took forever for Cena to get to the back, and I kept, wondering if Sheamus was going to come out and, sort of surprise everybody, cashing in before the Sting match. I waited until the very last minute for the Sting music to come off. We all know that Sheamus is lying in the weeds. Even though Seth Rollins has lost the first of 2 matches for the United States Championship, he now has to go in there against Sting and hopefully be able to pull out another one. Kind of weird for him to lose the first one, though. We'll have to see what goes down in the Sting match in the second one. Alright, main event time. Sting versus Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins holds on and beats Sting for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. He holds on to the belt. At the end of the night, he seems happy. That his world was rocked after he lost to John Cena and lost the United States Championship in the match before this. But I think he still holds on to the prize, being the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Maybe he looks at it as, holding both belts is something that he's going to have to, put himself through hell in order to keep being double champion. He was double champion once, and that's enough for him. But he beats Sting. He's, just pumped up as hell that he was able to hold on to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Let's just, run through this match real fast and, just honestly, this has to probably be the worst wrestling pay-per-view main event in a long time. Honestly, the one that's sticking out in my mind, maybe just because Sting was involved, was the Victory Road TNA pay-per-view, Sting versus Jeff Hardy. Everybody knows how that went down, but honestly, in my mind, I can't think of anything that was as bad as that was. But maybe over time, because people are going to remember Sting and remember what he meant to WWE, coming back. Maybe over time people will forget how bad this match was. But this match was honestly horrible. When Sting made his way down to the ring, Rollins was still selling the fact of the attitude adjustment from the match before, and he was laying in the corner. Sting threw his jacket at Rollins, and Rollins sold it. Immediately, Rollins sort of stood up into the corner and got hit with a scorpion death drop. And then from there, Sting tried to put the Scorpion Death Lock on and get Rollins to tap out on. They were really hyping up the fact that Rollins tapped out to this move on Monday Night Raw. And then from there, the big change in the match is that Sting took the fight to Rollins on the outside. And for some reason, Sting got up on top of the announcer's table. It's something that I really was wondering what the hell he was doing. He was waiting for Rollins to get up there on the table with him and bring the fight to him. Rollins got up on the table and immediately shoved Sting, and Sting took a bump through the Spanish announce table. And from that point, I'm sure that the spot went exactly the way they wanted it to, but nobody cleared out the monitors that sit inside of the announce table. So when Sting fell, his head was right in to the back of a TV monitor. I don't know if they were selling the fact that Sting had a concussion. He hurt his back, he hurt his leg, he hurt something. But from then on out, Sting was a non-factor in this match, and Sting was done for. Immediately after the spot, Rollins grabbed his championship, and it looked like he was going to leave the match as well. I don't know if they were giving Sting time to recover from the bump that he just took. I don't think anybody thought that he was going to be taking a bump at 50-plus years old like he did at the end of this one. But Rollins, gets halfway up the ramp and decides he's going to turn back, that he thinks he has this match at hand. And he can go back in there and he can beat up Sting. But from there, the match never really was really there. They're wrestling. The announcers, make light of the head trainer has to slip into the ring, actually stop the match to check on Sting. He has something wrong with his leg. It didn't look like it was his knee. It actually looked like it was something in his leg that he was having a hard time standing. But, the break helped him, and he was able to come back out and he was able to restart the match. I'm not sure if they'll probably trim this out on later viewings of Night of Champions, whether if it's on the DVD, whether if it's on the on-demand section, or whether if it's just going to be the next time they show it on the live stream or something like that. But I definitely would, because it definitely, took away from the match. There was definitely a back and forth. Sting puts on one of the worst Scorpion Deathlocks of all time. He didn't even sit down for it. I've never seen a sharpshooter with the guy just standing straight up in the air. But Rollins was able to grab Sting, roll him over, sort of sit on him, and get the 1, 2, 3. Rollins keeps his championship, and I guess that's going to be the end of the pay-per-view, and we'll go on to Monday Night Raw from here. Wow! I scratched that. Immediately after Seth Rollins wins his match, and he's in the ring celebrating, Sheamus, who was, they talked about this for a long time. They really hyped up the fact that Sheamus was there and that he was going to be cashing in more likely at Night of Champions. We saw him, do this face-to-face with Seth Rollins at least 2 to 3 times, and even told the Authority to their face before these series of matches happened at Night of Champions 2015 that he was ready to have his night. And immediately after Seth Rollins won his match against Sting, Sheamus came running down to the ring. He had I think he even had 2 referees with him, and they immediately hit the ring. He gave the briefcase to the referee, and the referee was making the way over to Lillian Garcia to make the announcement to start the match. And out of nowhere, Kane, his music comes off, he comes down, he's wearing the mask again, he's got the long hair, no more corporate Kane, this is just straight Demon Kane, comes in, attacks Seth Rollins, delivers the tombstone, and lays him out, and Night of Champions ends with just a massive confusion. We know that Corporate Kane quit. The Authority and Triple H talked him into staying and staying there, but I guess after Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins both attacked Corporate Kane on that Monday Night Raw. What was that before? Was it before Breaking Point, going into the thing with Brock Lesnar? Seth Rollins was going to be alone and he wasn't going to be there. So I'm guessing there's nothing that Triple H can do to step into this. But really, at Hell in a Cell, are they going to do Kane versus Rollins? I know that you have it stacked with Undertaker versus Brock, but that is pretty weak to go into. But that is how you end Night of Champions, with Kane making his return. Right now he looks pretty hot, and it's going to be fun for Monday Night Raw, but I'm wondering if after Monday Night Raw, Kane is still going to be the hot thing going with a Kane versus Rollins match for WWE Hell in the Cell 2015. Hey, what up everybody, this is Steve Breach coming to you, 1:45 in the morning. I'm about to head in on, call it a night, and head off to bed. But the one thing that I keep thinking about is Sting. Sting definitely somehow got injured. If you look throughout the internet, whether if you search over Twitter, it seems like every wrestling site has some sort of different story put up trying to bring people in, and some people say that Sting hurt his neck. Some people say that Sting hurt his back. Some say that Sting hurt his leg. But one way or another, Sting definitely got injured tonight. That there's no way in the world that it was just part of the match. Definitely, Sting showed his age, being 56 years old, coming into WWE, main eventing a pay-per-view. You got to give it to WWE to give Sting a platform like this, seeing how he is a guy that, was in WCW, after his WCW days, he went and spent the best part of his older days in his career at TNA, and WWE would bring this guy in and still think that he has value in the business, even though that he has sort of watered himself down in those TNA waters. Bringing him in, having a big match at WrestleMania 31, giving him a main event of Night of Champions 2015. Definitely, he was, the main event, but he was the main thing people were talking about if Sting could really get it done. I honestly could tell you that the days leading up into Night of Champions, I thought there was no shot in hell that Sting was going to be winning the match at Night of Champions. But as, time ticked by, I kept thinking to myself, like, what if this guy really could get it done? What if they're really going into this place? But definitely, when Sting did his bump through the table, I don't know if he bumped his head and he sort of knocked himself out, or if he hurt his back going through the announce table. The story of the match definitely was his leg, and that seemed like the one thing that the trainers were really checking on. But, for the most, the best news that's out there on the internet, I normally go to the Wrestling Observer, and as of right now, they have a story that was put up. They said that Sting's injury was legitimate. They're still trying to get more information on it, but early reports is that the injury was significant, and more than likely, Sting is probably in some pain tonight. I'm betting that he probably got iced up before he left and went back to his hotel room, but here's the Sting. He wrestled one hell of a match. I can't tell you that it was a good match. It's possibly one of the worst wrestling's pay-per-view main events that we've seen in a good little while, but it is due to injury. You could definitely tell that something is wrong when Sting got the Scorpion Deathlock on Rollins before the finish. He didn't even really sit down. It had to have been one of the worst ones of his career, but we'll see. I doubt that Sting ever wrestles again. I thought that he was never going to wrestle again after WrestleMania 31. I would think that that was going to be it. And he'd go into the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 32. I still think that's what's going to happen. But you never know. I mean, he got a lot of people talking for Night of Champions. So we have to see how bad this injury is tomorrow once they look into it and see where we go from here.